For you see, the you that you believe yourself to be, that collection of memories, experiences, and self-imposed limitations is but a shadow of your true self. You are not the sum of your past experiences, nor are you defined by the opinions and judgments of others. You are, in truth, an infinite being of pure consciousness, temporarily clothed in the garment of human flesh. Let us begin by understanding that your current state of being, your present circumstances, are nothing more than the outpicturing of your past assumptions and beliefs. Every aspect of your life, from the state of your health to the balance of your bank account, is a direct reflection of the thoughts and beliefs you have accepted as true. But here's the liberating truth. You are not bound by these thoughts and beliefs unless you choose to be. Consider for a moment the nature of your thoughts. They come and go, fleeting and ephemeral like clouds passing across the sky of your consciousness. Yet how often do we cling to these thoughts, believing them to be the very fabric of our being? We say, I am poor. I am unlucky in love. I am not talented enough. As if these statements were immutable facts rather than transient beliefs. But I tell you now, with absolute certainty, that you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind the thoughts, the silent observer that watches the parade of ideas marching through your mind. This awareness, this consciousness, is your true self, boundless, eternal, and filled with infinite potential. Let us delve deeper into this profound truth. When you say, I think, who is the I that is doing the thinking? Is it not something beyond the thought itself? This I is the true you, the being of pure awareness that exists prior to all thoughts and experiences. It is this I that we must learn to identify with, rather than the fleeting contents of our minds. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, if I am not my thoughts, then who am I? And to this I say, you are the very substance of God. For it is written in the scriptures, I and my Father are one. This is not mere poetic language, my friends, but the most profound truth of existence. The I am that you feel when you say I am is the very same I am that spoke the universe into being. Realize that every time you say I am, you are invoking the name of God. It is the creative power of the universe itself. So when you say I am poor, I am sick, I am unlucky, you are quite literally commanding the universe to manifest these conditions in your life. But oh, the glorious flip side of this truth. When you declare I am wealthy, I am healthy, I am blessed beyond measure, you are setting in motion the very forces of creation to bring these states into your experience. This, my dear listeners, is the crux of our discussion tonight. You are not what you think you are. You are what you believe yourself to be at the deepest level of your being. And this belief, this assumption, can be changed. You have the power here and now to choose a new concept of self, to select the version of you that you wish to be, and to live from that state until it becomes your reality. Let me share with you a secret that has transformed countless lives, the power of revision. You see, your subconscious mind does not distinguish between what you vividly imagine and what you actually experience in the outer world. This means that you have the ability to go back into your past, in your imagination, and relive events as you wish they had happened. By doing so, you are literally rewriting the script of your life, changing the trajectory of your present and future. Suppose you had an argument with a loved one earlier today. Instead of replaying the unpleasant scene in your mind, reinforcing the negative emotions and outcomes, choose instead to revise it. Close your eyes and imagine the scene playing out differently. See yourself responding with love and understanding. Feel the warmth of reconciliation and harmony. Do this with feeling, with the full intensity of your imagination, and watch as your outer world begins to reflect this new inner reality. This practice of revision is not mere wishful thinking or self-delusion. It is a recognition of the fluid nature of time and the malleable nature of reality itself. For time, as we experience it in this three-dimensional world, is but an illusion. All moments, past, present, and future, exist simultaneously in the eternal now. By changing your concept of the past, you are quite literally altering the substance from which your present and future are formed. Now I can sense that some of you may be struggling with this concept. You may be thinking, but Neville, I have tried positive thinking before, and nothing changed. To this I say, positive thinking alone is not enough. What is required is a complete shift in your state of consciousness. You must not merely think the thoughts of the person you wish to be. You must become that person in your imagination. This is where the power of assumption comes into play. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, when you live and move and have your being as if your desire were already a fact, you align yourself with the creative forces of the universe. Remember, your imagination is not a fantasy spinning faculty designed to escape reality. It is the very substance of reality itself, the God-given power to create and shape your world. Let me give you a practical example of how this works. Suppose you desire financial abundance. Instead of focusing on your current lack, or even on the process of acquiring wealth, you must assume the state of already being wealthy. How would you feel if you were already in possession of great wealth? How would you walk, talk, and carry yourself? What thoughts would occupy your mind? Live from this state, persist in it, and watch as the outer world reshapes itself to match your inner assumption. This is not to say that you should neglect practical action, but understand that inspired action springs naturally from your assumed state of being. When you truly believe and feel yourself to be wealthy, you will find opportunities for increasing your wealth presenting themselves to you effortlessly. You will be inspired to take actions that align with your new self-concept, and these actions will bear fruit in ways you could never have planned or anticipated. Now let us address another crucial aspect of this teaching, the nature of your desires. Many of you have been taught that your desires are somehow separate from you, that they are things to be pursued and attained. But I tell you now, your desires are not external to you. They are the voice of God within you, calling you to express more of your true, divine nature. When you feel a burning desire for something, be it a loving relationship, a fulfilling career, or perfect health, know that this desire is not born of lack. It is, in fact, a preview of coming attractions. It is your higher self, your God self, calling you to step into a greater expression of who you truly are. The very presence of the desire is proof of its possibility. For how could you desire something that was not already yours on some level of being? This understanding liberates you from the anxious pursuit of your desires. Instead of chasing after them, you can rest in the calm assurance that what you desire desires you. Your role is simply to align your consciousness with the state of having already received your heart's desire. As you do this, you open yourself to receive the good that is already yours. Let us now turn our attention to the world around you. Many of you may look at the conditions of your life and the state of the world and feel discouraged. You may think, how can I possibly change my reality when there is so much evidence to the contrary? But I urge you to remember the world you see is nothing more than a shadow, a reflection of past beliefs and assumptions. The outer world, in all its seeming solidity, is far more malleable than you might think. It is, in fact, infinitely responsive to your state of consciousness. When you change your concept of self, when you assume a new state of being, the entire universe moves to accommodate your new self-concept. This is not wishful thinking, my friends. This is the law by which worlds are framed. Consider the words of the prophet Isaiah, for as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. This is not merely poetic language, but a statement of cosmic law. Your inner world, your state of consciousness, is the cause, and the outer world is the effect. Change the cause, and the effect must necessarily change. This understanding places a great responsibility upon your shoulders. For if you are the creator of your reality, then you must be willing to take full responsibility for every aspect of your life. No longer can you blame circumstances, other people, or fate for your conditions. But with this responsibility comes immense power. The power to reshape your world according to your highest ideals. Now, some of you may be wondering, if I am not what I think I am, if I am this infinite being of pure consciousness, why do I not experience this in my daily life? The answer lies in the power of habit and the nature of your attention. You have spent years, perhaps lifetimes, identifying with your limited self-concept. You have practiced the art of being small, of being less than you truly are. But just as you have practiced limitation, you can practice expansion. You can train yourself to identify with your true, infinite nature. This is the essence of spiritual practice. Not to become something you are not, but to realize and express what you have always been. One powerful way to do this is through the practice of meditation. Not the meditation of emptying your mind, but the meditation of filling your consciousness with awareness of your true nature. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and simply be aware of being aware. Feel the I am presence within you, that sense of existence that underlies all your experiences. As you do this regularly, you will find your identification shifting from the limited ego self to the infinite divine self. Another powerful practice is the use of affirmations, but not in the way they are commonly understood. Instead of repeating phrases by rote, feel the truth of the statements you make. When you say, I am wealthy, feel the reality of abundance coursing through your being. When you declare, I am loved, feel the warmth of divine love embracing you. Remember, it is not the words themselves that have power, but the feeling tone behind them. As you engage in these practices, you may encounter resistance. Old beliefs and habits may rise up, challenging your new understanding. This is natural and to be expected. Your ego self, that collection of beliefs and memories you have identified with for so long, will fight to maintain its existence. But remember, this resistance is not your true self. It is merely the dying gasp and outmoded concept of being. When you encounter this resistance, do not fight against it. Fighting only gives it power and reality. Instead, simply observe it with compassion and understanding. Know that it is nothing more than a passing cloud in the vast sky of your consciousness. As you persist in your new assumptions, as you continue to live from your desired state, these old patterns will gradually dissolve like mist before the rising sun. Now let us address a question that may be arising in some of your minds. If I am not what I think I am, if I am this infinite being, why do I experience limitations and challenges in my life? This is a profound question, and the answer lies in the purpose of your earthly existence. You see, you have chosen to incarnate in this three-dimensional reality for the purpose of experience and expression. Just as an actor takes on a role to express certain aspects of human experience, you have taken on this human form to explore the infinite possibilities of being. The limitations and challenges you face are not punishment or obstacles, but opportunities for growth and self-realization. When you encounter a challenge in your life, instead of seeing it as a problem to be solved, see it as an invitation to express more of your true divine nature. Every difficulty is an opportunity to remember who you really are, to shed the limitations of your assumed identity, and step into the fullness of your being. This understanding transforms your approach to life's challenges. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what aspect of my divine nature am I being called to express through this experience? This shift in perspective aligns you with the flow of life, opening you to receive the lessons and blessings inherent in every situation. Remember, my dear friends, that you are not separate from the creative power of the universe. You are that power individualized and made manifest. The entire universe exists within you, waiting to be explored and expressed. When you truly grasp this truth, when you live from this understanding, you become a conscious co-creator with God, shaping your reality according to your highest vision. Now let us delve even deeper into the nature of your being. You are not just a physical body, nor are you merely a collection of thoughts and emotions. You are consciousness itself, the awareness in which all experiences arise. This consciousness is not limited to your personal experiences. It is the very same consciousness that animates all of creation. When you realize this truth, you begin to see the divine in everything and everyone. The person sitting next to you, the tree outside your window, the stars in the night sky, all are expressions of the same consciousness that you are. This realization naturally gives rise to love, compassion, and a sense of unity with all of life. Living from this expanded state of consciousness does not mean you neglect your individual expression. On the contrary, it allows you to express your unique gifts and talents more fully. For when you know yourself as the infinite being that you are, you no longer fear judgment or failure. You are free to express yourself authentically, knowing that your individual expression is a vital and beautiful part of the cosmic dance. This understanding also transforms your relationships. When you see others as expressions of the same divine consciousness that you are, you naturally treat them with respect and kindness. You no longer need to manipulate or control others, for you recognize that their well-being is inseparable from your own. This is the basis of true love, not the needy, grasping love of the ego, but the expansive, unconditional love of your true nature. As you live from this expanded state of being, you will find that synchronicities and coincidences become more frequent in your life. This is because you are aligning yourself with the flow of universal intelligence. You begin to see the interconnectedness of all things, and you naturally flow with the currents of life rather than struggling against them. Now I want to address a common misconception about this teaching. Some of you may think that if you are not what you think you are, if your true nature is this infinite consciousness, then your individual personality and experiences don't matter. Nothing could be further from the truth. Your individual expression is how the infinite experiences itself in form. Your unique perspective, your talents, your desires, these are all valuable and necessary parts of the cosmic unfoldment. The key is to enjoy your individual expression while remembering your true nature. It's like an actor who fully embodies a role while never forgetting that they are acting. You can fully engage with your human experience, with all its joys and sorrows, while maintaining the awareness of your true, infinite nature. This balanced perspective allows you to play the game of life with zest and enthusiasm without becoming overly attached to outcomes. You can set goals and work towards them, knowing that the real joy lies not in achieving the goal itself, but in the expression and expansion of your being that the pursuit allows. As we near the conclusion of our discourse, I want to emphasize a crucial point. This teaching is not merely theoretical. It is meant to be lived, to be experienced in every moment of your daily life. It's not enough to intellectually understand that you are not what you think you are. You must live from this understanding, embody it in your thoughts, words, and actions. Start by questioning your habitual thoughts and beliefs. Whenever you catch yourself thinking, I can't, I'm not good enough, good in eating thought, pause and ask yourself, is this really true? Is this who I really am? Then consciously choose a thought that aligns with your true infinite nature. Practice seeing yourself and others through the eyes of your higher self. Look beyond the surface appearances, beyond the roles and identities, to the divine essence that underlies all forms. As you do this consistently, you will find your perception of the world transforming. What once seemed like problems or obstacles will reveal themselves as opportunities for growth and expression. Engage in activities that remind you of your true nature. This could be meditation, as we discussed earlier, or it could be anything that brings you into a state of flow: art, music, dance, or communing with nature. These activities can serve as doorways to the experience of your infinite self. Remember, my dear friends, that this journey of self-realization is not about becoming something you are not. It is about remembering and expressing what you have always been. You are not evolving towards some future state of perfection. You are perfect, whole, and complete right now. Your journey is one of unveiling, of removing the veils of illusion that have hidden your true nature from your awareness. As you live from this understanding, you will find your life transforming in ways you might never have imagined. Challenges that once seemed insurmountable will dissolve in the light of your expanded awareness. Opportunities that you never noticed before will present themselves. You will find yourself guided by an inner wisdom that far surpasses the limited reasoning of the ego mind. But perhaps the most beautiful transformation will be in your relationship with yourself and with life itself. As you recognize your true nature, you will naturally begin to treat yourself with more kindness and compassion. The harsh inner critic that many of you have lived with for so long will gradually be replaced by a voice of loving wisdom. You will also find a new appreciation for the simple joys of existence. The beauty of a sunset, the laughter of a child, the taste of good food. All of these will take on a new depth of meaning. You will realize that every moment is a miracle, an opportunity to experience and express the divine nature that you are. As we conclude our discourse on You Are Not What You Think You Are, I urge you to take this understanding into your daily life. Let it inform your thoughts, your words, and your actions. Remember that you are not limited by your past, by your circumstances, or by the opinions of others. You are an infinite being of pure consciousness, temporarily expressing yourself in human form. Embrace this truth. Live from it. Let it transform your world. For when you are true who you truly are, when you live from the state of your divine nature, there are no limits to what you be, do, or have. You are the creator of reality, the author of your life story. Write it boldly, live it fully, and watch as the world transforms before your eyes. Go forth, my dear friends, in the knowledge of your true nature. You are not what you think you are infinitely more. You are the very substance of God, expressing itself in human form. Live from this truth and watch as miracles unfold in your life. Remember, the kingdom of heaven is within you. It is not a place to be reached, but a state of consciousness to be realized and expressed. You are that kingdom, that power, that glory. Claim your divine inheritance. Live as the God being that you are. And so, with these words, I leave you to contemplate and embody this profound truth. You are not what you think you are. You are the infinite, eternal, boundless being of pure awareness. Know this, live this, and transform your world. I speak to you about the divine power of living alone, the magnificent state of being complete within yourself. Now you may think this contradicts what society has taught you about relationships and marriage, but I tell you with complete conviction, living alone is one of the highest states a being can achieve. Let me be perfectly clear. When I speak of living alone, I am not speaking of mere physical solitude. I speak of that glorious state of consciousness where you recognize that you are complete, whole, and perfect exactly as you are. For you see, the world has sold you a lie, a magnificent deception that you need another to be complete. But I tell you now, you are already complete, for you contain within yourself all the powers of God. Consider the first words in Scripture about man. Let us make man in our image. Notice it doesn't say, let us make man, and then give him someone else to make him complete. No man was created complete, whole, perfect in the image of God. This is your natural state, your divine inheritance. Many of you come to me speaking of loneliness, of emptiness, of the need for partnership. But I tell you now, these feelings arise not from being alone, but from not recognizing your own completeness. You are seeking outside yourself what can only be found within. The kingdom of heaven is within you, not in another person. Let me share with you a principle that I have tested and proven countless times. The state of living alone, when properly understood and embraced, is the most powerful state of consciousness you can occupy. For in this state, you are not divided. Your energy is not scattered. Your focus is not diluted. You are one with yourself, one with God. Consider this. When you are in a relationship, where does your focus go? It goes to the other person, their needs, their wants, their moods, their expectations. But when you live alone, properly understanding this state, your focus remains on the only creative power in existence, your own wonderful human imagination. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, isn't this selfish? Aren't we meant to share our lives with others? Let me be very clear, there is no other. What you see as others are aspects of yourself pushed out. Therefore, when you focus on your own completeness, you are actually expressing the highest form of love, the recognition of the divine in yourself. I think about the great mystics and prophets throughout history. Did they not often retreat into solitude? Did they not find their greatest revelations when alone? This was not by accident, my dear friends. They understood this principle that I share with you tonight, that in solitude we find our true power. Let me explain this further. When you live alone, properly understanding this state, you are not running from relationships. You are not hiding from love. Instead, you are claiming your divine birthright of completeness. You are saying to the universe, I am complete. I am whole. I am sufficient unto myself. Consider the words of Scripture. Be still and know that I am God. Notice it doesn't say, be still and know that we are God, or be still and find someone else to make you God. No, it speaks of that individual recognition of your own divine nature. This recognition comes most powerfully in solitude. Many of you spend your days seeking completion in relationships, seeking happiness in partnerships, seeking fulfillment in romantic connections. But I tell you now, this is like seeking water in a desert mirage. The water you seek is within you. The love you seek is within you. The completion you seek is within you. Let me share with you a profound truth that most of the world has missed. When you truly embrace living alone, you experience a freedom that no relationship can provide. This is not the freedom to do whatever you want, though that certainly comes with it. This is the freedom to be whoever you truly are, without the distortions and compromises that relationships often demand. Think about it. In a relationship, how much of yourself do you compromise? How many of your dreams do you modify? How many of your desires do you suppress? But when you live alone, embracing the state fully, you are free to be exactly who you are, to pursue exactly what you desire, to live exactly as you choose. This is not about being selfish or uncaring. Rather, it is about being true to your divine nature. For how can you truly love others if you are not first true to yourself? How can you give freely if you are constantly compromising your own truth? Let me share with you another principle that I have tested and proven. The state of living alone, when properly understood, is the most powerful manifestation state you can occupy. For in this state, your imagination is not cluttered with the thoughts, beliefs, and limitations of others. Your creative power flows purely and directly. Consider this when you are in a relationship. How often do you modify your imaginal acts based on what your partner might think or want? How often do you limit your dreams to accommodate their reality? But when you live alone, your imagination is free to soar to whatever heights it chooses. Many of you fear living alone because you have been taught that it means being lonely. But I tell you now, loneliness is a state of consciousness, not a circumstance. You can be surrounded by people and feel intensely lonely, or you can be completely alone and feel deeply connected to all of life.
The secret is this: when you truly embrace living alone, you discover that you are never truly alone. For you are one with God, one with all of creation. This is not a philosophical concept. This is a living reality that you can experience when you properly understand and embrace solitude.
Think of it this way: every great invention, every magnificent work of art, every profound spiritual revelation, these not come from individuals who were willing to be alone with their thoughts, alone with their imagination, alone with their God. This is not coincidence, my dear friends. This is law. Let me share with you another truth that many find difficult to accept. Relationships often serve as distractions from your true purpose. They can become comfortable hiding places where you never have to face yourself, never have to grow, never have to become who you truly are. But when you live alone, properly understanding this state, you have no choice but to face yourself. You have no choice but to grow. You have no choice but to become who you truly are. This is why many fear solitude, because it forces them to confront their own divine nature. Consider the story of Jesus going into the wilderness for 40 days. This was not a punishment. This was not a hardship. This was a necessary step in claiming his divine nature. The wilderness, the solitude, was not an obstacle to overcome. It was the very means of his transformation. Many of you have been taught that relationships are the path to growth, to learning, to becoming better people. But I tell you now, while relationships can certainly teach us things, the deepest growth, the most profound learning, the most complete transformation always happens in solitude. Think about it: when you are constantly in relationship, constantly adjusting to another's presence, constantly accommodating another's reality, how can you truly know yourself? How can you truly hear your own inner voice? How can you truly follow your own divine guidance? Let me share with you another principle that I have tested and proven. The state of living alone, when properly understood, is the most powerful healing state you can occupy. For in this state, you are not taking on the energies, the emotions, the problems of others. You are free to focus entirely on your own healing, your own growth, your own transformation. Consider this: when you are in a relationship, how much of your energy goes to managing the other person's moods? How much of your time is spent dealing with their issues? How much of your attention is diverted from your own healing journey? But when you live alone, all of that energy, all of that time, all of that attention can be focused on your own growth and healing. Many of you fear living alone because you have been taught that we need others to heal, to grow, to become whole. But I tell you now, while others can certainly support our healing journey, the deepest healing always happens in solitude, in that sacred space where it's just you and God. Think of it this way: when you break a bone, yes, doctors can set it, friends can support you, but the actual healing happens within your own body. No one else can do that healing for you. In the same way, your deepest emotional and spiritual healing can only happen within you, in the silence of your own being. Let me share with you another truth that society often tries to deny. Relationships often create more problems than they solve. They often bring more complexity than clarity, more confusion than certainty, more distraction than direction. But when you live alone, properly understanding this state, life becomes remarkably simple. Your decisions are your own. Your time is your own. Your energy is your own. This simplicity is not a limitation. It is a profound freedom that allows you to focus entirely on your divine purpose. Consider the great spiritual teachers throughout history. Yes, they interacted with others, they taught others, they loved others, but their power, their clarity, their connection to divine truth came from their willingness to be alone, to be complete within themselves. Many of you spend your lives seeking the perfect relationship, the perfect partner, the perfect connection. But I tell you now, what you are really seeking is your own perfection, your own completeness, your own divine nature. And this can only be found within yourself. Think about it. How many relationships have you entered hoping they would make you happy, make you complete, make you whole? And how many times has this strategy failed? This is because you are seeking outside yourself what can only be found within. Let me share with you another principle that I have tested and proven. The state of living alone, when properly understood, is the most powerful creative state you can occupy. For in this state, your creative energy is not divided, not compromised, not diluted by the needs and demands of relationship. Consider this: when you are in a relationship, how much of your creative energy goes into maintaining the relationship itself? How much of your creative power is spent on managing the dynamics, handling the conflicts, navigating the compromises? But when you live alone, all of that creative energy can be directed toward your divine purpose. Many of you fear living alone because you have been taught that creativity flourishes in relationship, in connection, in partnership. But I tell you now, while collaboration can certainly produce wonderful things, the most profound creativity always emerges from solitude, from that sacred space where you are one with your own imagination. Think of it this way: every great book, every magnificent symphony, every profound philosophical insight, these came not from committees or relationships, but from individuals who were willing to spend long hours alone with their thoughts, alone with their creativity, alone with their God. Let me share with you another truth that many find difficult to accept. Relationships often drain our energy rather than enhance it. They often deplete our resources rather than multiply them. They often diminish our power rather than amplify it. But when you live alone, properly understanding this state, your energy remains intact. Your resources remain your own. Your power remains undiluted. This is not selfishness. This is stewardship of your divine gifts. Consider the words of Scripture. What shall it profit a man if he gains the whole world but loses his own soul? I tell you now, many relationships cause exactly this, a losing of oneself in the attempt to gain or maintain connection with another. Many of you have been taught that relationships are necessary for growth, for learning, for becoming who you are meant to be. But I tell you now, while relationships can certainly teach us things, the most profound growth, the deepest learning, the most complete becoming always happens in solitude. Think about it: when you are constantly adjusting to another's presence, constantly accommodating another's reality, constantly compromising your own truth. How can you truly grow in meant you are meant to be? How can you truly hear your own inner guidance? How can you truly follow your own divine path? Let me share with you another principle that I have tested and proven. The state of living alone, when properly understood, is the most powerful manifestation state you can occupy. For in this state, your manifestation energy is not divided, not compromised, not diluted by the needs and desires of others. Consider this: when you are in a relationship, how often do you modify your desires to accommodate your partner? How often do you compromise your dreams to maintain harmony? How often do you settle for less than what you truly want? Because it's easier than dealing with conflict. But when you live alone, your desires remain pure. Your dreams remain intact. Your manifestations remain undiluted. This is not selfishness. This is alignment with your divine nature. Think of it this way: every great achievement, every magnificent creation, every profound breakthrough, these came not from compromise or consensus, but from individuals who were willing to stand alone in their vision, alone in their purpose, alone in their truth. Let me share with you another truth that society often tries to deny. Relationships often create more limitation than liberation. They often bring more constraint than freedom, more obligation than opportunity, more burden than blessing. But when you live alone, properly understanding this state, you are truly free. Free to pursue your dreams without compromise. Free to follow your guidance without explanation. Free to be who you truly are without apology. Consider the great innovators throughout history. Yes, they may have had teams and supporters, but their greatest innovations came from their willingness to stand alone in their vision, to trust their own imagination, to follow their own guidance. Many of you spend your lives seeking security in relationships, seeking safety in partnerships, seeking stability in connections with others. But I tell you now, the only true security, the only real safety, the only lasting stability comes from your connection with your own divine nature. Think about it. How many relationships have you entered seeking security, only to find more insecurity? How many partnerships have you formed seeking safety, only to find more danger? How many connections have you made seeking stability, only to find more chaos? This is because you are seeking outside yourself what can only be found within. The security you seek is not in another person, it is in your recognition of your own divine nature. The safety you desire is not in a relationship, it is in your connection with your own I am. Let me share with you another principle that I have tested and proven the state of living alone, when properly understood, is the most powerful, abundant state you can occupy. For in this state, your resources are not divided, not compromised, not diluted by the needs and demands of relationship. Consider this: when you are in a relationship, how much of your abundance goes to maintaining the relationship itself? How much of your resources are spent on managing the dynamics, handling the compromises, navigating the conflicts? But when you live alone, all of those resources can be directed toward your divine purpose. Many of you fear living alone because you have been taught that abundance comes through partnership, through sharing, through combining resources with another. But I tell you now, while sharing can certainly multiply abundance, the most profound abundance always flows from your recognition of your own completeness. Think of it this way: every great fortune, every magnificent empire, every profound legacy, these came not from relationships or partnerships, but from individuals who are willing to stand alone in their vision, alone in their purpose, alone in their truth. Let me share with you another truth that many find difficult to accept. Relationships often create more scarcity than abundance. They often bring more limitation than expansion, more constraint than freedom, more obligation than opportunity. But when you live alone, properly understanding this state, you experience true abundance. Not just material abundance, though that certainly comes, but the abundance of being fully yourself, of living fully your truth, of expressing fully your divine nature. Consider the words of Scripture: "Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things shall be added unto you." The kingdom of heaven is not in another person, it is within you. When you seek it there, everything else naturally falls into place. Many of you have been taught that relationships are necessary for success, for achievement, for creating the life you desire. But I tell you now, while relationships can certainly support our success, the most profound achievements, the greatest successes, the most complete creations always come from our willingness to stand alone in our truth. Think about it: when you are constantly adjusting to another's presence, constantly accommodating another's reality, constantly compromising your own vision, how can you truly create what you are meant to create? How can you truly achieve what you are meant to achieve? How can you truly succeed in your divine purpose? Let me share with you another principle that I have tested and proven: the state of living alone, when properly understood, is the most powerful peace state you can occupy. For in this state, your peace is not dependent on another's mood, not compromised by another's stress, not diluted by another's chaos. Consider this: when you are in a relationship, how much of your peace is disturbed by your partner's moods? How much of your tranquility is disrupted by their stress? How much of your serenity is compromised by their chaos? But when you live alone, your peace remains intact. Your tranquility remains undisturbed. Your serenity remains complete. Many of you fear living alone because you have been taught that peace comes through relationship, through sharing your life with another. But I tell you now, while relationships can certainly bring moments of peace, the most profound peace, the deepest tranquility, the most complete serenity always comes from within. Think of it this way: every great sage, every magnificent teacher, every profound master, did they not find their greatest peace in solitude? Did they not discover their deepest wisdom in silence? I want you to listen carefully, for what I am about to share with you is of utmost importance. It is the key that unlocks the door to your wildest dreams, the bridge that spans the chasm between your current reality and the life you've always imagined. Are you ready to embark on this transformative journey? Are you prepared to witness the miraculous unfoldment of your desires? Then let us begin. First and foremost, we must understand that the world we perceive with our physical senses is but a shadow, a reflection of a greater reality that exists within us. This inner world, this realm of imagination, is the true source of all that we experience in our outer world. It is the workshop wherein we craft our destinies, the sacred space where we commune with the divine. Consider for a moment the nature of your desires. What is it that you truly want? Is it wealth beyond measure, perfect health, a loving relationship, a fulfilling career? Whatever it may be, I want you to know that it already exists within you. Yes, you heard me correctly. Everything you want, everything you've ever dreamed of, is already a part of you, waiting to be recognized, waiting to be brought forth into expression. You see, my dear friends, we live in an infinite universe of possibilities. Every conceivable state, every potential experience already exists in what I call the dimensionally larger world of which we are all a part. Your task, then, is not to create these desires anew, but to select them, to choose them from the infinite array of possibilities that surround you at every moment. But how, you may ask, do we make this selection? How do we bring forth our desires from the realm of potential into the world of actuality? The answer, my friends, lies in the power of your imagination. For it is through the faculty of imagination that we connect with the dimensionally larger world, that we tap into the infinite reservoir of all possibilities. Imagination, you see, is not some frivolous faculty meant only for children and artists. No, imagination is the very substance of reality. It is, as William Blake so eloquently put it, the real and eternal world of which this vegetable universe is but a faint shadow when you imagine. You are engaging in the highest form of creative activity. You are literally shaping the substance of your reality. Now, let us delve deeper into the mechanics of this process. When I say that everything you want is about to appear all at once, I am not speaking metaphorically. I am describing a literal truth about the nature of manifestation. You see, in the realm of imagination, in the dimensionally larger world, there is no time as we understand it in our physical experience. All possibilities exist simultaneously, eternally present in what we might call a divine now. When you imagine your desire fulfilled, when you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are not creating something new. Rather, you are selecting a state, a version of reality that already exists. You are tuning your consciousness to a particular frequency, aligning yourself with a specific possibility from the infinite array that surrounds you. This is why I often speak of the importance of living in the end. By this, I mean that you must assume the consciousness, the feeling, the inner conviction of already being or having that which you desire. For in truth, in the realm of imagination, you already are, and have everything you could ever want. Your task is simply to align your consciousness with this truth. Let me give you an example to illustrate this point. Suppose you desire financial abundance. Instead of focusing on your current lack, on the bills that need to be paid, or the debts that weigh upon you, I urge you to assume the feeling of already being financially free. Feel the relief, the joy, the sense of security that comes with having more than enough. Live from that state. Make it your new reality in imagination. As you do this, as you persist in this assumption, you will begin to notice changes in your outer world. Opportunities will arise. Unexpected sources of income will appear. Your entire financial situation will begin to shift. And here's the crucial point. These changes are not caused by your imaginal act. Rather, they are the outer manifestation, the shadow of the shift that has already occurred within you. This is what I mean when I say that everything you want is about to appear all at once. In the moment that you truly assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, in the instant that you align your consciousness with the desired state, you have already received it. The outer manifestation is simply catching up to the inner reality you have chosen. Now I can sense that some of you may be skeptical. You may be thinking, but Neville, I've tried visualization, I've tried positive thinking, and nothing has changed to this. I say, examine carefully the nature of your imaginal acts. Are you truly living from the end? Are you fully embodying the state of your wish fulfilled? Or are you simply wishing, hoping, yearning for a change? You see, there is a world of difference between mere wishing and the kind of imaginative act one I'm describing. Wishing implies lack. It reinforces the absence of your desire. But when you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, when you live from the end, you are acknowledging the presence of your desire. You are aligning with its reality. Moreover, you must persist in your assumption. The Bible tells us to pray without ceasing, and this is what is meant by that instruction. Your prayer is not a verbal petition to some external deity. Your prayer is the feeling, the inner conviction of already being or having that which you desire. And you must hold to this feeling, this conviction, regardless of any apparent contradictions in your outer world. This brings us to another crucial point, the importance of detachment. When I say that everything you want is about to appear all at once, I do not mean that you should anxiously await its arrival, constantly checking to see if it has manifested. Such behavior only reinforces the sense of lack, the feeling of not yet having your desire. Instead, you must cultivate a sense of calm certainty, a quiet confidence that your desire is already yours. This is what is meant by the biblical injunction to be still and know that I am God in the stillness of your imagination, in the quiet certainty of your assumption. You are God in the act of creation. Let us explore this concept further. When you truly understand that everything you want is about to appear all at once, you will find that your entire relationship with desire changes. No longer will you be consumed by anxious longing, by the feeling of lack or want. Instead, you will experience a profound sense of fulfillment, a deep inner peace that comes from knowing that all is well, that all your desires are already realized in the realm of imagination. This shift in consciousness is transformative. It liberates you from the tyranny of external circumstances, from the ups and downs of worldly events. For when you know that everything you want is about to appear all at once, when you live from this truth, you become impervious to disappointment, immune to discouragement. Consider for a moment how this understanding might change your daily life. Imagine waking up each morning with the unshakable conviction that this day holds infinite possibilities, that everything you've ever wanted is on the verge of manifestation. How would you move through your day? How would you interact with others? How would you respond to challenges? You would, I submit, move through your day with grace and ease, with a sense of joyful anticipation. You would interact with others from a place of abundance, of generosity, knowing that your good is assured. You would face challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth, as stepping stones on the path to your desired end. This, my friends, is the true power of living from the end, of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is not merely a technique for manifesting specific desires, though it certainly can be used for that purpose. More fundamentally, it is a way of being in the world, a state of consciousness that aligns you with the creative power of the universe itself. Now, some of you may be wondering about the mechanics of this process. How, you might ask, does our inner state affect our outer reality? The answer lies in the nature of consciousness itself. You see, consciousness is the only reality. The world you perceive with your physical senses is not separate from you. It is an extension of your consciousness, a projection of your consciousness. This is why I often say that there is no such thing as an external cause. All causes are mental. Your outer world, your experiences, your circumstances are all reflections of your inner state. When you change your inner state, when you assume a new state of consciousness, your outer world must change to reflect this new inner reality. This is not magic, though it may seem magical to those who do not understand the law. It is simply the way the universe operates. It is the law of consciousness, the fundamental principle underlying all creation. And it is this law that ensures that everything you want is about to appear all at once. But let us be clear, when I say that everything is about to appear all at once, I do not necessarily mean that all your desires will manifest simultaneously in your physical reality. The timing and manner of the outer manifestation are not for you to determine. Your task is simply to maintain the inner state, to live from the end, to persist in the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled. The outer manifestation will take care of itself. It will unfold in perfect timing, in a way that is in harmony with the totality of your being and the greater good of all. Your job is not to manipulate external circumstances, but to maintain the inner conviction, the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This brings us to another important point, the role of action in this process. Some may interpret this teaching as an invitation to passivity, as suggesting that we need not take any action in the physical world. This is a misunderstanding. Action is a vital part of the creative process, but it must be inspired action, action that flows naturally from your assumed state. When you truly live from the end, when you fully embody the state of your wish fulfilled, you will find yourself naturally inspired to take the right actions. These actions will not feel like effort or struggle. They will feel natural, effortless, as if you are being guided by an invisible hand. This is because, in a very real sense, you are being guided. By assuming the state of your wish fulfilled, you are aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe. You are tapping into a wisdom that far exceeds your limited conscious mind. And this wisdom will guide you, will inspire you to take the perfect actions to bring about the manifestation of your desire. So do not worry about what you should do or how you should do it. Focus instead on maintaining the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Live from that state, and the right actions will present themselves to you at the perfect time. This is the true meaning of seeking first the kingdom, of prioritizing the inner state over external actions. Now I want to address a question that often arises when I discuss these principles. Some may ask, but Neville, what about the desires of others? What if what I want conflicts with what someone else wants? This is a natural concern, but it arises from a misunderstanding of the nature of consciousness and creation. You see, in the dimensionally larger world, in the realm of pure possibility, there is no conflict. All desires can be fulfilled, all states can be realized without impinging on the desires or states of others. It is only in our limited physical perception that we experience conflict and scarcity. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, when you live from the end, you are not taking anything away from anyone else. You are simply aligning yourself with a version of reality where your desire is fulfilled. And in that reality, in that state, everyone else's desires are fulfilled as well, in a way that is in perfect harmony with the whole. This is why I often say that there is no competition in the kingdom of God. In the realm of imagination, in the dimensionally larger world, there is infinite abundance. There is more than enough for everyone. Your good does not come at the expense of another's good. In fact, as you realize your desires, as you manifest your good, you are contributing to the good of all. So do not hesitate to imagine freely, to assume the state of your wish fulfilled, regardless of how it might appear to affect others. Trust in the wisdom of the universe, in the perfect outworking of the law. Know that as you align yourself with your desires, you are aligning yourself with the highest good for all concerned. This understanding liberates you from guilt, from the fear of being selfish or greedy. It allows you to desire boldly, to imagine grandly, knowing that your good is part of the greater good, that your fulfillment contributes to the fulfillment of all. Now, let us delve even deeper into the mechanics of manifestation. When I say that everything you want is about to appear all at once, I am pointing to a fundamental truth about the nature of time and consciousness. You see, in the realm of imagination, in the dimensionally larger world, there is no time as we understand it in our physical experience. All states, all possibilities exist simultaneously in what we might call an eternal now. When you imagine your desire fulfilled, when you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are not creating something new in the future. You are selecting a state that already exists. You are tuning your consciousness to a reality that is already present in the eternal now. This is why the feeling is so crucial. The feeling is the secret, the bridge between the world of imagination and the world of physical experience. When you capture the feeling of the wish fulfilled, when you embody the state of having or being what you desire, you are literally stepping into that reality. You are aligning your consciousness with the version of you who already has what you want. And here's the miraculous part. The moment you do this, the moment you truly capture that feeling and hold to it, everything begins to shift. The entire universe reconfigures itself to match your new inner state. This is not metaphor or poetic license. It is a literal description of how reality operates. Your outer world, you see, is nothing more than a shadow, a reflection of your inner state. As you change your inner state, as you assume a new state of consciousness, your outer world must change to reflect this new reality. It has no choice. It is simply following the law of consciousness, the fundamental principle that underlies all creation. This is why persistence is so crucial. When you first assume a new state, when you first capture the feeling of the wish fulfilled, your outer world may not immediately reflect this change. This is because there is often a time lag between the inner shift and its outer manifestation. During this period, it may seem as if nothing is happening. The temptation may be to give up, to conclude that it's not working. But this is precisely when you must hold fast to your assumption, when you must persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Remember, the outer world is catching up to your new inner reality. Everything is in motion, everything is shifting to align with your new state. But this rearrangement takes time in our physical experience. Your task is to maintain your new state, regardless of any apparent contradictions in your outer world. This is what is meant by living by faith. Faith, in this context, is not blind belief in something unseen. It is the evidence of things not seen with the physical eye, but perceived clearly with the eye of imagination. It is the unwavering conviction that what you have imagined, what you have assumed in consciousness, is already a reality. As you persist in this faith, as you hold fast to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you will begin to notice changes in your outer world. At first, these changes may be subtle. You might notice small synchronicities, seemingly chance encounters or events that align with your desire. These are signs that the law is working, that the universe is responding to your new state. As you continue to persist, these changes will become more pronounced. Opportunities will arise, circumstances will shift. People will enter or exit your life, all in perfect alignment with your assumed state. And then, often when you least expect it, your desire will manifest fully in your physical reality. This is what I mean when I say that everything you want is about to appear all at once. In the moment that you truly assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, In the instant that you align your consciousness with the desired state, you have already received it. The outer manifestation is simply catching up to the inner reality you have chosen. Now I want to address a common misconception about this process. Some may interpret this teaching as suggesting that we can manipulate reality to our whim, that we can force the universe to give us whatever we want. This is a misunderstanding of the law. You see, the law of consciousness is not about imposing your will on the universe. It's about aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe. It's about recognizing your oneness with the source of all creation and allowing that power to express itself through you. When you imagine your desire fulfilled, when you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are not forcing anything. You are simply choosing a state, selecting a version of reality that already exists in the dimensionally larger world. You are aligning your consciousness with a particular possibility from the infinite array that surrounds you. This alignment is not an act of force or will. It is an act of surrender, of allowing. You are surrendering your limited personal will to the greater will of your divine self, your true self, that is one with the creative power of the universe. This is why the state of relaxation is so important in this work. When you are relaxed, when you are in a state of allowing, you open yourself to the infinite possibilities that surround you. You become receptive to the guidance of your higher self, to the wisdom of the universe. So as you imagine your desire fulfilled, as you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, do so with a sense of ease, of relaxation. Don't strain, don't force. Simply allow yourself to sink into the feeling, to become one with the state you desire. This state of relaxed allowance is the fertile soil in which your desires take root and grow. It is the state in which miracles occur, in which the seemingly impossible becomes possible. It is the state in which everything you want appears all at once. Now, let us consider another aspect of this principle. When I say that everything you want is about to appear all at once, I am not just referring to material desires or external circumstances. This principle applies equally to inner states, to qualities of being, to ways of experiencing the world. Perhaps what you truly want is not a specific thing or circumstance, but a state of being. Perhaps you want to experience more love, more joy, more peace in your life. The principle remains the same. Assume the feeling of being loving, joyful, peaceful. Live from that state. Embody it fully in your imagination. As you do this, as you persist in this assumption, you will find that your entire experience of life begins to shift. You will attract experiences, people, circumstances that reflect and reinforce your assumed state. You will begin to see the world through new eyes, to experience reality in a new way. This is the true power of imagination. It is not just about manifesting external things or circumstances. It is about shaping your entire experience of reality, about choosing the state of consciousness from which you live your life. And here's a profound truth. As you elevate your state of consciousness, as you align yourself with higher states of being, you naturally attract experiences that match that state. The things and circumstances you once desired may manifest, but you may find that they no longer hold the same importance for you. This is because you have aligned yourself with something greater than mere material possessions or external circumstances. You have aligned yourself with the creative power of the universe itself. You have recognized your true nature as a divine being, capable of shaping reality through the power of your imagination. This recognition, this alignment with your true self, is the ultimate goal of all desire. It is the state of consciousness in which everything you want appears all at once, because you recognize that you already are everything you could ever want to be. In this state, desire itself is transformed. No longer do you desire from a place of lack or want. Instead, your desires become expressions of your divine nature, ways of bringing more love, more joy, more beauty into the world. Your life becomes a constant act of creation, a continuous unfoldment of infinite possibilities. This, my dear friends, is the promise and the potential that lies within each of you. It is the birthright of every human being, the true purpose of our existence. We are here to recognize our divine nature, to align ourselves with the creative power of the universe, and to express that power through our imagination. As you leave here today, I urge you to carry this truth with you. Remember that everything you want is about to appear all at once, not because you are going to receive something you lack, but because you are about to recognize what you already are, what you already have. Live from this truth. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled in every moment. Persist in your assumption regardless of any apparent contradictions in your outer world. Know that you do this. You are aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe, You are stepping into your true identity as a divine being. And as you do this, watch in wonder as your world transforms, as everything you've ever wanted begins to appear in your experience, not as something separate from you, but as a natural expression of who you truly are. Remember, the kingdom of heaven is within you. Everything you could ever want or need already exists within you. Your task is simply to recognize this truth, to live from it, to express it in your daily life. So go forth with confidence, with joy, with the unshakable knowing that everything you want is about to appear all at once. For in truth, it already has. You simply need to open your eyes to adjust your vision, to see the miraculous reality that surrounds you at every moment. This, my friends, is the promise and the power of your imagination. This is the truth of who you are and what you are capable of. Embrace it fully, live from it completely, and watch in awe as your life becomes a living testament to the creative power that resides within you. Thank you for your attention, for your openness to these truths. May you go forth and create miracles in your life and in the world around you. For you are the miracle, you are the power, you are the divine expressing itself in human form. Everything you want is about to appear all at once because you are about to recognize that you already are everything you could ever want to be. My dear wonderful friends, tonight I shall share with you the most powerful secret in all of creation. How to speak to yourself in a way that will completely transform your world in just 3 days. Not in 3 months, not in 3 years, but in 3 days. For you see, the power of your inner conversation is absolute. And it is the only true creative power in the universe. Now, when I tell you to talk to yourself, I am not speaking of the idle chatter that most engage in throughout their day. I speak of that inner conversation that is deliberate, conscious, and aligned with your desired state. For your inner conversation is your consciousness externalized, and your consciousness is God. Consider the words of Scripture. In the beginning was the Word. These words are not speaking of some external deity's utterance. They speak of your inner word, your inner conversation. For you are the operant power, and your inner conversation is the word that creates all things. Many of you come to me asking, Neville, how long must I wait to see my desires manifest? And I tell you now, give yourself 3 days of proper inner conversation, and you will see your world begin to transform. For 3 is the number of completion in Scripture. And when you maintain the proper inner conversation for 3 days, you set in motion forces beyond your current understanding. Let me share with you exactly how to conduct this inner conversation. First, you must understand that your inner conversation must be from the end. You do not speak of what you want to be true. You speak as though what you desire is already true. This is the great secret that most of the world has missed. When you wake in the morning of your first day, your inner conversation must be from the state of your wish fulfilled. If you desire wealth, your inner conversation must be that of a wealthy person. If you desire health, your inner conversation must be that of a healthy person. If you desire love, your inner conversation must be that of someone who is deeply loved. But, and this is crucial, your inner conversation must feel natural. It must not be strained or forced. For feeling is the secret, and your inner conversation must be accompanied by the feeling of naturalness. Let me give you a perfect example from Scripture. When David spoke to Goliath, his inner conversation was not, I hope I can win, or I will try my best. His inner conversation was from the state of victory already achieved. This is why he could say with complete conviction, this day will the Lord deliver thee into mine hand. Now, for these 3 days, you must guard your inner conversation as though your life depends upon it, because it does. Every time you catch yourself engaging in inner conversation that contradicts your desired state, you must immediately revise it. This is not a suggestion. This is a command if you wish to see your world transform. Consider this: every outer conversation you have is first an inner conversation. Every relationship you have is first an inner conversation. Every circumstance in your life is first an inner conversation. Therefore, by changing your inner conversation for just 3 days, you literally change the entire substance from which your world is created. Let me tell you how to structure your inner conversation throughout these 3 days. In the morning, your first inner words must be from the state of your wish fulfilled. Before you open your eyes, before you move a muscle, engage in the inner conversation of the person you wish to be. If you desire wealth, your inner conversation might be, I am so grateful for my abundant life. Money flows to me easily and continuously. I am surrounded by prosperity. But remember, these words must not be mere affirmations. They must be spoken with a feeling of knowing that they are already true. Throughout your day, your inner conversation must maintain the same level of conviction. When challenges arise, and they will arise, your inner conversation must remain steadfast. If someone speaks of lack, your inner conversation must be of abundance. If someone speaks of illness, your inner conversation must be of health. This is where most fail in their attempt to change their world. They allow their inner conversation to be pulled into the current circumstances rather than maintaining the conversation of their desired state. But I tell you now, circumstances have no power over your inner conversation unless you give them that power. For these 3 days, you must be relentless in maintaining your new inner conversation. When you walk down the street, your inner conversation must be from your desired state. When you eat your meals, your inner conversation must be from your desired state. When you prepare for sleep, your inner conversation must be from your desired state. Let me share with you a principle that I have tested and proven countless times. Your inner conversation is the only reality. Everything else, absolutely everything, is a shadow of your inner conversation pushed out. Therefore, when you maintain the proper inner conversation for 3 days, you literally create a new world. Many of you may be thinking, but Neville, 3 days seems too short a time to change my entire world. Let me remind you of the story of Jonah. How long was he in the belly of the whale? 3 days. And after 3 days, he was transformed, and his world was transformed. This is not coincidence, my dear friends. This is law. 3 days of proper inner conversation is all that is required to set in motion the forces that will transform your world. But these must be 3 complete days, not 3 days of wavering between states. During these 3 days, you must guard your inner conversation, not just in your waking hours, but as you fall asleep. For the last inner conversation you have before sleep is particularly powerful. It continues to echo through your subconscious mind throughout your sleep. Therefore, as you prepare for sleep during these 3 days, your inner conversation must be perfectly aligned with your desired state. If you desire a successful business, your inner conversation might be, I am so grateful for my thriving business. My customers are delighted with our services. Profits increase continuously. But remember, and this is crucial, your inner conversation must be accompanied by the feeling of naturalness. It must feel as natural to have this conversation as it feels to speak of what you had for breakfast. This is where the power lies, not in the words themselves, but in the feeling of naturalness that accompanies them. Let me share with you another principle. Your inner conversation creates your outer conversations. Therefore, during these 3 days, you must be particularly vigilant about your outer conversations as well. They must align with your new inner conversation. If someone asks you how you are, your response must come from your desired state. If someone speaks to you about problems or difficulties, your response must come from your desired state. Your outer conversation must be a perfect reflection of your new inner conversation. Many of you may find this challenging at first. You may be tempted to engage in conversations about current circumstances rather than your desired state. But I tell you now, this is where your power lies, in maintaining your new conversation regardless of appearances. Consider the story of Jesus walking on water. What was his inner conversation? Was it about the impossibility of walking on water? Was it about the danger of the storms? No, his inner conversation was from the state of mastery over all natural laws, and his outer world had to conform to this inner conversation. During these 3 days, you must maintain the same level of conviction in your inner conversation. You must speak to yourself as though your desired state is already your reality, not as though it will be, not as though it might be, but as though it is. Let me share with you how to handle doubts when they arise during these 3 days, and they will arise. When a doubt appears in your mind, do not fight it. Instead, immediately revise your inner conversation. If you catch yourself saying inwardly, "This isn't working," immediately revise it to, "Everything is working perfectly. My world is transforming now." This revision must be immediate and complete. You cannot allow doubt to linger in your inner conversation. For remember, your inner conversation is the only reality. Therefore, a doubting inner conversation will create a doubting outer reality. Throughout these 3 days, your inner conversation must be dominated by gratitude. Not gratitude for what you hope will come, but gratitude for what is already yours in your desired state. This gratitude must be part of your inner conversation throughout the day. When you wake in the morning, your inner conversation must be filled with gratitude. When you go about your daily activities, your inner conversation must be filled with gratitude. When you prepare for sleep, your inner conversation must be filled with gratitude. Let me share with you another principle. Your inner conversation creates your inner states, and your inner states create your outer world. Therefore, during these 3 days, your inner conversation must create and maintain the inner state of your wish fulfilled. If you desire wealth, your inner conversation must create and maintain the inner state of wealth consciousness. If you desire health, your inner conversation must create and maintain the inner state of health consciousness. If you desire love, your inner conversation must create and maintain the inner state of being loved. Many of you may be wondering what to do if you slip in your inner conversation during these 3 days. Let me be very clear, you must not condemn yourself. Instead, immediately revise the conversation. Remember, you are training yourself to maintain a new inner conversation, and like any training, it requires practice. During these 3 days, your inner conversation must be your primary focus. Every other activity must be secondary to maintaining your new inner conversation, for you are literally recreating your world through this conversation. Let me share with you how to structure your inner conversation for specific desires. If you desire a new home, your inner conversation might be, "I love living in my beautiful new home. Everything about it is perfect for me." If you desire a promotion, your inner conversation might be, "I am so grateful for my new position. It's everything I desired and more." But remember, these are not mere words. They must be accompanied by the feeling of living in that new home, the feeling of working in that new position. For feeling is the secret. And your inner conversation must generate the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Throughout these 3 days, your inner conversation must be specific. Vague inner conversation creates vague results. Therefore, speak to yourself with clarity about your desired state. Be specific in your inner conversation about what you are grateful for, what you are experiencing, what you are enjoying in your desired state. Let me share with you another principle. Your inner conversation creates your self-concept, and your self-concept creates your world. Therefore, during these 3 days, your inner conversation must be about who you are, not just what you have. If you desire success, your inner conversation must be about being a successful person, not just about having success. If you desire abundance, your inner conversation must be about being an abundant person, not just about having money. If you desire love, your inner conversation must be about being a loved person, not just about having a relationship. During these 3 days, your inner conversation must be continuous, not in the sense of constant chatter, but in the sense of consistent alignment with your desired state. Every time you become aware of your inner conversation, it must be from your desired state. Let me share with you how to maintain this continuity. Set reminders for yourself throughout the day. Every time you look at your watch, every time you eat a meal, every time you enter a room, let these be triggers to check your inner conversation. But remember, your inner conversation must not be mechanical. It must be alive with feeling, rich with the emotion of your desired state. for it is the feeling that gives power to your inner conversation. Throughout these 3 days, your inner conversation must be sovereign. You must not allow anyone or anything to dictate your inner conversation. Not circumstances, not other people's opinions, not past experiences. Nothing must have power over your inner conversation except you. Let me share with you another principle. Your inner conversation creates your expectations, and your expectations create your experience. Therefore, during these 3 days, your inner conversation must create the highest expectations of good for yourself. Many of you may be thinking, but Neville, what if my desired state seems impossible? Let me remind you, nothing is impossible to your inner conversation. Your inner conversation is God in action, and to God all things are possible. During these 3 days, your inner conversation must be about possibility, not probability. You must speak to yourself from the state of your wish fulfilled, regardless of how probable or improbable may seem to your rational mind. Let me share with you how to handle apparent failures during these 3 days. If something happens that seems to contradict your desired state, your inner conversation must remain unchanged. You must speak to yourself as though the seeming failure is actually part of the perfect unfolding of your desire. Remember, your inner conversation is creating your reality, not the other way around. Therefore, no external circumstance has the power to change your inner conversation unless you give it that power. Throughout these 3 days, your inner conversation must be your constant companion. It must be the lens through which you view every experience, the filter through which you interpret every event, the standard by which you measure every circumstance. Let me share with you another principle. Your inner conversation creates your belief system, and your belief system creates your reality. Therefore, during these 3 days, your inner conversation must consistently reinforce the beliefs that support your desired state. During these 3 days, your inner conversation must be a perfect reflection of the person you wish to be. You must speak to yourself as that person would speak, think as that person would think, feel as that person would feel. Let me share with you how to maintain this level of consciousness. When you catch yourself speaking from your old state, immediately ask yourself, how would I be speaking to myself if I were already the person I wish to be? Then revise your inner conversation accordingly. Throughout these 3 days, your inner conversation must be about what is, not what was or what might be. You must speak to yourself in the present tense from the state of your wish fulfilled. This is crucial for the manifestation of your desire. Let me share with you another principle. Your inner conversation creates your future, but it does so by creating your present. Therefore, during these 3 days, your inner conversation must make your desired future your present reality. Many of you may be wondering what will happen after these 3 days. Let me tell you, if you have maintained the proper inner conversation for 3 days, you will have set in motion forces that must result in the manifestation of your desire. During these 3 days, your inner conversation must be your primary tool for creation. Every other method, every other technique, every other approach must be secondary to maintaining your new inner conversation. Let me share with you how to know if your inner conversation is correct. If it feels natural, if it feels real, if it feels true, even in the face of contrary evidence, then your inner conversation is correct. Throughout these 3 days, your inner conversation must be protected like a precious jewel. You must guard it against doubt, against fear, against negativity. For your inner conversation is the very substance from which your world is created. Let me share with you another principle. Your inner conversation creates your relationship with yourself, and your relationship with yourself creates all other relationships. Therefore, during these 3 days, your inner conversation must reflect the highest, most loving relationship with yourself. During these 3 days, your inner conversation must be your sacred practice. You must treat it with the same reverence that a priest treats his prayers, that a scientist treats his experiments, that an artist treats his creations. Let me share with you how to maintain this level of devotion. See your inner conversation as your direct connection to the creative power of the universe. For that is exactly what it is. Your consciousness in action, creating your world. Throughout these 3 days, your inner conversation must be your constant reminder of who you really are, the operant power in your world, the creator of reality, the God of your universe. And that, my dear friends, is how you must talk to yourself for 3 days if you wish to transform your world. Not sometimes, not occasionally, but consistently, continuously, constantly. For your inner conversation is the word of God in action, and it cannot return void. Remember this, your world is your inner conversation pushed out. Therefore, guard your inner conversation for these 3 days, as though your life depends upon it, because it does. So what will you do with this knowledge? Will you continue with your old inner conversation, creating the same results you've always created? Or will you begin today, this moment, to maintain a new inner conversation that must create a new world? The choice is yours, but the law is absolute. Your inner conversation creates your reality. Therefore, speak to yourself for 3 days as though your desires are already fulfilled, and watch your world transform. That's the message I want to leave you tonight. Not because it's easy, but because it's true. Not because it's simple, but because it's powerful. Not because it's what you expected to hear, but because it's what you needed to hear. Remember, 3 days of proper inner conversation will transform your world. Every single time. And isn't that worth thinking about? I want you to understand that these 5 lines we'll discuss are not mere affirmations of positive thinking exercises. They are, in truth, the very seeds of your reality, the blueprints of your experience, the commands you give to infinity manifest in your world. Let us begin with the first line. I am the creator of my reality. My dear friends, these words hold within them the very essence of your divine nature. When you speak this line each morning, you are acknowledging your true identity as a creative force in this universe. You are not a mere spectator in the grand theater of life, but the playwright, the director, and the lead actor all at once. You see, the world you experience is not external to you. It is a projection of your consciousness, a reflection of your inner state. When you declare, I am the creator of my reality, you are stepping into your God-given power. Recognize that every circumstance, every experience, every encounter in your life is a creation of your consciousness. This declaration is not an act of ego, but a humble acceptance of your divine responsibility. It is an acknowledgement that you are not a victim of circumstances, but the author of your life story. When you truly embody this truth, you cease to blame others or external conditions for your experiences. Instead, you recognize that you hold the pen that writes your destiny. Imagine, if you will, a master artist standing before a blank canvas. The artist does not wait for inspiration to strike from outside, does not hope for someone else to come and paint a masterpiece. No, the artist knows that the vision, the creativity, the power to bring beauty into being resides within. This is you, my dear friends, standing before the canvas of your life each morning. When you speak this line, feel the truth of it resonating in every cell of your being. Feel the power, the responsibility, infinite potential that comes with being the creator of your reality. Let this knowing infuse your entire day, guiding your thoughts, your words, your actions. And as you embrace this truth, you will find that your perception of the world begins to shift. No longer will you see problems, but opportunities for creation. No longer will you feel powerless in the face of challenges, but excited by the chance to exercise your divine creativity. This understanding leads us seamlessly to our second line. My imagination is the workshop where I shape my future. The imagination. It is perhaps the most misunderstood and underutilized power we possess. Many dismiss it as mere fantasy, idle dreaming. But I tell you, my dear friends, your imagination in which your reality is created You see, in the realm of imagination, all things are possible. There are no limitations, no boundaries, no rules that cannot be bent or broken. When you imagine, you are tapping into the infinite field of all possibilities, selecting the reality you wish to experience. When you speak this line each morning, you are acknowledging the creative power of your imagination. You are recognizing that the seeds of your future are planted in the fertile soil of your mind. What you imagine with feeling, with conviction, becomes the blueprint for your experience. Consider for a moment the great inventors and visionaries throughout history. Every innovation, every leap forward in human progress began as an idea, a vision in someone's imagination. The Wright brothers imagined human flight before they built their first airplane. Thomas Edison imagined a world illuminated by electric light before he created the light bulb. In the same way, you must imagine your desired reality before you experience it in the physical world. But remember, imagine that means not mere visualization. It is not enough to see your desired reality in your mind's eye. You must feel it, live it, experience it in your imagination as if it were already your present reality. For your subconscious mind, the faithful servant that brings your imaginings into physical form, does not differentiate between what is real and what is vividly imagined. When you declare, "My imagination is the workshop where I shape my future," you are committing to consciously and deliberately using this divine gift. You are promising yourself that you will no longer allow your imagination to run wild with fears and worries, but will instead harness it to create the future you desire. Throughout your day, after speaking this line, in the morning, catch yourself whenever your imagination wanders to unwanted scenarios. Gently but firmly bring it back to imagining your desired reality. Remember, every moment spent imagining what you don't want is a moment not spent creating what you do want. This practice of conscious imagination naturally flows into our third line, what I assume I become. My dear friends, this line encapsulates a fundamental law of consciousness. Your assumptions, those deep-seated beliefs about yourself in the world, are not mere thoughts. They are the very substance from which your reality is formed. You see, your assumptions act as filters through which you perceive and interact with the world. They color your experiences, shape your reactions, and ultimately determine the outcomes in your life. When you assume something to be true, you unconsciously align your thoughts, feelings, and actions to make it so. This is not a superficial process of positive thinking or wishful hoping. It is a profound shift in your sense of being. When you truly assume a state, you are essentially saying to the universe, "This is who I am." And the universe, in its infinite wisdom and perfect law, must respond by reflecting that state back to you in your physical reality. Consider for a moment how differently you would move through the world if you assumed yourself to be abundantly wealthy compared to if you assumed yourself to be perpetually struggling. How would you carry yourself? How would you speak? What decisions would you make? You see, the assumption itself begins to shape your reality long before any external circumstances change. When you speak this line each morning, you are reminding yourself of the power of your assumptions. You are committing to consciously choose the assumptions that serve your highest good, that align with your desired reality. But remember, assumptions are not surface-level affirmations. They are deep, unshakable towings. So truly assume a state, you must build it in the very core of your being. You must live from that state, embody it fully, even before there's any external evidence to support it. Throughout your day, after declaring this truth in the morning, pay attention to your habitual assumptions. Notice how they shape your perceptions and experiences. When you catch yourself assuming something that doesn't serve you, pause. Take a deep breath, then consciously choose a new assumption that aligns with your desired reality. This practice of conscious assumption leads us beautifully to our fourth line, my inner conversations shape my outer world. The inner conversations, those ceaseless dialogues we have with ourselves, often without even realizing it. My dear friends, these inner conversations are perhaps the most powerful tool you have for shaping your reality. You see, your inner conversations are not mere idle chatter. They are the very instructions you give to your subconscious mind, and through it to the entire universe. What you consistently tell yourself in the privacy of your own mind becomes your reality in the outer world. When you declare, "My inner conversations shape my outer world," you are acknowledging the creative power of your self-talk. You are recognizing that the words you speak to yourself are seeds planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious, seeds that will inevitably grow into the circumstances of your life. Consider for a moment how your life might be different if your inner conversations were always supportive, always encouraging, always aligned with your highest vision for yourself. How would you feel? How would you carry yourself? How would you interact with others? You see, the shift begins within, long before any external circumstances change. But remember, this is not about forced positivity or denying your current experiences. It's about consciously choosing inner conversations that align with your desired reality, even in the face of contradictory circumstances. When you speak this line each morning, you are committing to becoming aware of your inner dialogues. You are promising yourself that you will no longer allow negative, limiting self-talk to go unchallenged. Instead, you will consciously cultivate inner conversations that support your growth, your success, your joy. Throughout your day, after affirming this truth in the morning, pay attention to your inner conversations. Notice the tone, the content, the underlying assumptions. When you catch yourself in negative self-talk, pause. Take a deep breath. Then consciously choose a new inner dialogue that aligns with your highest vision for yourself. This practice of conscious inner conversation flows seamlessly into our fifth and final line. I am already that which I desire to be. My dear friends, this line is perhaps the most powerful, the most transformative of all. For in these words lies the key to instant manifestation, to the immediate realization of your desires. You see, most people live in a state of wanting, of striving, of reaching for a future state of being. They say, when I have this, then I'll be happy. Or once I achieve that, then I'll feel successful. But in doing so, they perpetuate a state of lack, of not having, of not being. But I tell you, there's no future state of being. There is only now. And in this eternal now, you are already everything you desire to be. Your true self, your divine nature, is already perfect, whole and complete. It lacks nothing. It needs nothing. It is the fullness of all possibility. When you declare, I am already that which I desire to be, you are aligning with this truth. You are stepping out of the illusion of becoming and into the reality of being. You are claiming your divine inheritance here and now. This is not about denying your circumstances or pretending to be something you're not. It's about recognizing that the outer world is a reflection of your inner state of being. When you embody the state of already being what you desire, the outer world must, by law, rearrange itself to match this inner reality. Consider for a moment how differently you would move through your day if you truly felt that you were already living your ideal life, already embodying your highest self. How would you carry yourself? How would you speak? How would you interact with others? You see, the shift in your outer world begins with this shift in your inner state of being. When you speak this line each morning, feel the truth of it in every fiber of your being. Feel the relief, the joy, the satisfaction of already being everything you desire to be. Let this feeling infuse your entire day, calling your perceptions, your actions, your interactions. Throughout your day, whenever you catch yourself slipping into a state of wanting or striving, pause. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself, I am already that which I desire to be. Feel the truth of this statement. Embody it fully. Now, my dear friends, as we reflect on these 5 powerful lines, I want you to understand something crucial. These are not mere words to be recited mechanically each morning. They are invocations of your true nature, declarations of your divine identity. When spoken with understanding, with feeling, with conviction, they have the power to completely transform your life. You see, these 5 lines address the fundamental aspects of your creative power, your identity as a creator, the role of your imagination, the power of your assumptions, the impact of your inner conversations, and the truth of your divine nature. When you align all these aspects of yourself with your desired reality, you become an unstoppable force of creation. But remember, the power lies not in the words themselves, but in the state of being they evoke within you. It's not enough to simply say these lines. You must feel them, live them, embody them. You must let them permeate every aspect of your being until they become your new normal, your new default state of consciousness. As you begin this practice of speaking these 5 lines to yourself every morning, you may find that at first they feel strange or untrue. Your old patterns of thinking, your habitual state of consciousness, may resist this new way of being. This is natural. Do not fight it. Simply observe it, acknowledge it, and gently but firmly choose again to align with these higher truths. You see, my dear friends, you are in the process of reprogramming your subconscious mind, of rewriting the script of your life. And like any new skill, this takes patience and persistence. But I assure you, rewards are beyond anything you can currently imagine. As you consistently speak these lines each morning, you will begin to notice subtle shifts in your perception, in your emotions, in your experiences. You may find yourself reacting differently to challenges, seeing opportunities where before you saw only obstacles. You may notice synchronicities and coincidences occurring more frequently in your life. These are all signs that your inner world is shifting, that your new state of consciousness is beginning to manifest in your outer reality. Celebrate these lines no matter how small they may seem, for they are proof that your practice is working, that you are indeed shaping your reality through your consciousness. But remember, this is not about achieving some future state of perfection. It's about fully embracing and expressing who you truly are right here, right now. It's about aligning with your divine nature and allowing it to express itself freely through you. As you continue this practice day after day, week after week, you will find that these 5 lines become more than just a morning ritual. They will become the foundation of your entire way of being. You will find yourself naturally thinking, speaking, and acting from this higher state of consciousness throughout your day. And as you do, you will begin to witness miracles in your life. Not external miracles that defy the laws of nature, but the true miracles of consciousness, the effortless alignment of your outer world with your inner state of being. You will watch it in awe as circumstances rearrange themselves to match your new vibration. As opportunities appear seemingly out of nowhere. As your deepest desires manifest with ease and grace. But even more than these outer changes, you will experience a profound inner transformation. You will feel a deep sense of peace, of alignment, of connection with your true self. You will know beyond any doubt that you are indeed the creator of your reality. That your imagination is the workshop where you shape your future. That what you assume, you become. That your inner conversations shape your outer world. And that you are already that which you desire to be. This, my dear friends, is the true purpose of this practice. It is not about manipulating external circumstances or achieving specific goals. It is about awakening to your true nature, about fully embodying your divine self, about living from the state of already being everything you desire to be. As you go forth from this place, I urge you to commit to this practice with all your heart. Make it the foundation of your days, the North Star that guides your journey through life. Speak these 5 lines to yourself each morning, not as a mechanical recitation, but as a heartfelt declaration of your true identity. And remember, every time you speak these lines, you are not just affirming a truth, you are creating your reality. You are shaping your future. You are calling forth your highest self to express itself in this world. So speak these lines with conviction, with feeling, with the full power of your being. Let them resonate in every cell of your body, in every corner of your consciousness. Let them become the very essence of who you are. For as you do, you will find that your life begins to unfold with a beauty, a grace, a magnificence that you never thought possible. You will discover depths of creativity, of love, of joy within yourself that you never knew existed. You will step into the fullness of your divine nature and become a living testament to the creative power of consciousness. And notice as you transform your own life through this practice, you are contributing to the transformation of the entire world. For we are all one, all expressions of the same divine consciousness. Your awakening, your alignment with your true self, ripples out and touches all of creation. So go forth, my dear friends, and speak these 5 lines to yourself every free morning. Speak them with love, with conviction, with unwavering faith. Speak them as if your life depends on it, because in truth, it does. For in these words lies the key to your freedom, your fulfillment, your divine destiny. Remember always, you are the creator of your reality. Your imagination is the workshop where you shape your future. What you assume, you become. Your inner conversations shape your outer world, and you are already that which you desire to be. Now go and let your light shine brightly in this world. For you are powerful beyond measure, loved beyond imagination, and capable of more than you could ever dream. Speak these truths to yourself each morning, and watch as your life transforms into a living masterpiece of divine explosion.